sorry, this is going to be really wordy, but I couldn't keep it any shorter. I first met Marcy in the summer of 1984 at her parents' home inside the downstairs door to the backyard on Coldwell Road. She was pregnant with Christina at the time, and my first impression of her was that she had a smile as wide as the state of Texas. She was a beautiful girl, married for not too long at the time, and filled with anticipation about her new baby and her life ahead. We chatted that day, but it was a day filled with new people for me to meet, so we didn't spend all that much time together. I found out that day that she and Bill were actually living in Florida, but just up for a visit. So in Florida is where she would have Christina, and then in that October, and then in 1987, Billy. I remember a really fun 3-week vacation that we took when Billy was still in the crib. Ted and I flew down with Rachel and Cheryl and spent some time vacationing, and then headed over to Marcy and Bill's to spend Christmas with them. And Marcy was organized to the extreme. In my house, Christmas presents were scattered under the tree, but not in Marcy. You had a pile on the left for Bill, and you had a pile on the right for Christina. And I'm guessing that she got that from her parents. And I'm pretty sure that that's the way it always was. Things didn't work out as planned with Bill, and Marcy and the kids moved back to New Jersey. It wasn't long before Marcy was remarried and gave birth to our beautiful Danielle. Now, there were 3 kids, a husband, and whatever dogs at the time. But she was fun too. She loved Florida. She loved the sun and the pool, and was so happy when Mom and Dad decided to move to Florida permanently, and she was going to live in the house that she grew up in. It was part of her, it was part of them, and it meant the world to her to be able to live there. She also loved to travel. She took trips to Florida, driving with all the kids to Nettles Island, where they would vacation. She loved to fish. She didn't eat the fish, but she did love fishing. She took a trip to Mexico with Pete once, and went fishing there, and proceeded to break her foot. Being graceful was not one of her strong points. She always wanted to cruise, but she had a bad experience that fed her fear of cruising, but she always wanted to do that later in life. So Marcy could whip up a meal for 6 in a flash. She had to. She had 4 kids and a husband to feed. But then there were those date nights too, where the kids feasted on peanut butter and jelly, and I'm sure you all remember that. She was, or at least tried to be, a very strict disciplinarian. She had a chore chart on her refrigerator, and everybody had a list of what they were supposed to do and what the consequences were when they didn't do it. So she really handed out a lot of consequences. One of the things that was so Marcy was her love for dogs. Let's see, there was Cindy growing up. When I came along, there was Peabody and Tamaroo. And, well, that was Mom and Dad's dog anyway. She had a love of Shih Tzus. Geisha was cute until she wasn't. Then there was Panda and Pooh Bear, and they had 3 litters. I remember her first litter. Mark was a little boy and fell in love with one of the puppies. So Marcy whispered into Mark's ear, "Go over to your dad and say, 'Oh, Dad, can't we have this puppy?'" So who could say no to that? Well, not Ted. He couldn't say no. So when Spanky was old enough, he came home with us. And remember Perdita, Danny's favorite? The big Afghan hound that ran around the yard and ran away every chance she could. And then Marcy bought Jixer for Alexa. All she ever wanted was for her to have a yard and her own dog. For many years at our home in New Jersey, we would have theme parties during the summer. Most of you have come to at least some. We had our Grease party, our Survivor party, a Hawaiian luau, just to name a few. One year we had a TV theme party. Ted and I were dressed up as Captain Stubing and Julie, the cruise director from the Love Boat. People came in all sorts of costumes that were wonderful. I'll never forget the costumes Marcy and her family came in. They were all dressed in white with cotton balls glued all over their clothing. They were the sort of sheep. Very clever indeed. For Marcy, she couldn't get enough of her family. She always wanted to spend weekends together, especially during the summer for those wonderful barbecues on Caldwell Road, gathering together for Dad's paella during Labor Day weekend, and week after week of playing Trivial Pursuit with the extended family. Family swims and wonderful conversations with Uncle Al and Aunt Dot, or as everyone always mistakenly said, Aunt Al and Uncle Dot. Marcy would bring her taco dip, which was quickly devoured by everybody. Marcy loved to laugh about her childhood with her brothers. She was the apple of her dad's eye, and they all knew it. The boys were supposed to be babysitting her when Mom and Dad went out. We all know how that went. Ted paid Marcy to do his laundry, and I only wish I could have been a fly on the wall to witness all the shenanigans that went on throughout those years. She had a special bond with each of her brothers and always, always, always spoke fondly of each of them. Marcy and I had a dream to go see Oprah's show in Chicago. Neither of us had ever been there, and we talked year after year about getting tickets and taking a girls' vacation there. And how rude was it that Oprah canceled her show and canceled our dream of doing that. One memory none of you probably know about is one year I decided to have a murder mystery dinner. So Ted and I, Marcy, Pete, and 4 of our neighbors dressed up in clothing in the roaring 20s. So we had a great dinner at the house, played the murder mystery game, and then proceeded to go out into the hot tub. Marcy didn't feel well, and she felt it wouldn't be a good idea to go in the hot tub. So she sat back. Well, that not feeling well turned out to be her pregnancy with Alexa. And it was a darn good thing she didn't get into that hot tub. Exactly 1 week after 9/11, we welcomed our beautiful Alexa into the family. And speaking of hot tubs, when Pat and Debbie were moving to Florida, Marcy and Pete and Ted and I and Pat and Debbie all went out for a fabulous dinner and then ended back at the house where we all went to the hot tub and smoked cigars. Yes, Mark, I smoked a cigar, first and last time. But of all the wonderful memories, my favorite was each Thanksgiving when Marcy and family would spend the day with us. The kids would draw, make placemats, hang out until Aunt Joanne finally said it was time to eat, or as Billy called me, Aunt Joanne. Marcy always made the sweet potato pies, which were out of this world. Family was the most important thing to her. She loved all of her children, and it saddened her that except for Alexa, they were spread so far and wide throughout the country. When she moved to Florida, she was so happy to be near Mom and Dad, Pat, Chris, and the kids. She always told me I was her best friend. I hope I was. I tried to advocate for her when she couldn't do it for herself. She was a fighter until the end. Yes, she could be a drama queen with the best of them. She could keep you on the phone for hours if you let her. She was horrible at texting, and she didn't always do things maybe the way they should have been done. But in the end, it was still all about the family. It was about who was going to take care of Alexa, how was Christina feeling, the time she worried about Billy because she hadn't heard from him, and when was she going to get to see Danny living so far away. She worried about Mom. When she was living with Ted, Mark, and Nate, along with Alexa, Danny, and Pooh Bear, I asked her when she was able to get out on her own where she would rather live, New Jersey or Florida. I told her to think about it for a few days. She told me she wanted to be near Mom in Florida, and so it was done. I will never know anybody like Marcy. She was definitely a fighter. She had a spark in her like I have never seen. Even when she was at her sickest, she still talked about getting back on her feet, trying to find a place with an extra bedroom that she could act as an office, and try to find a home job. She was a force to be reckoned with. She could fight with you like nobody's business, and she didn't hesitate to tell you what she thought about you. But even with that, you knew she loved you and cared about you. That's the Marcy that I knew and loved. Rest in peace, my sister. I will always love you.
I don't have anything prepared, so I don't need a microphone. You can all hear me, right? I would think Marcy would want this to be really a celebration of her life. And Christina, thank you so much for getting it out of that funeral home and bringing it here, because this just has a completely different atmosphere, And I was trying to think, Christina asked me last night to think of some of the funny things that I remember about Marcy, and you know, the one I remember when my dad told me we had to be in by 11 or 12 or whatever it was, but I never made it. So he would lock he would lock the door, and then we had steps that went up, and then there was Marcy's room was in the front, and the three boys and us, we slept in one room in the back. So I used to tap on the window, and knock on the window, and Mars, bang, Mars, she'd get up, open the window. I'd climb through the window because that's the only way I could get to the house. And she was, like Joanne said, she had a great relationship with me, Mike, and Pat. I mean, she really did. I remember also a time when I was out, you know, whatever, doing my thing, and Mom and Dad were in Florida, and they had to prepare for Thanksgiving. She was doing the whole thing, the whole Thanksgiving dinner. And I guess when you prepare a turkey, you have to rip out the guts or something there you have to take out. I never did one, so. But I remember stumbling in about 3 in the morning, and she's like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "Out." She goes, "I need your help." I said, she goes, "There's this thing in this turkey. I can't take it out." And I'm drunk, you know, and I get the thing. Here you go, Marcy. Goes, "Oh my God, thank you." So that was, yeah, I remember that real well. But I also remember I'll never forget the 16th birthday party. Dad got her a band up on the deck out back. It was loud, I mean really loud, and it was going on till 11. And then Erdensky and Schiffer and the guys came on the bikes, the motorcycles pulled up, and then the police came. And that's how we knew we were really having a good party, you know? And, but, you know, she was, you know, like the pastor said, the imprint, that was said beautifully, the imprint that she had on all of us, that joy, that happiness that she could, you know, just let out for everybody. Life was a thrill for her, it was a joy for her, and she was infectious, you know, with her spirit, and everybody wanted to be around it. Patrick said he couldn't wait, you know, because she was always up. She had always something good going on, you know. And unfortunately, the last 12 years, she got very sick. And Alexa was getting better, and Marcy was getting sicker, you know. I don't know of a mother in the world that could have endured everything that she endured with the relationships and the children, and to have all that love in her heart. And then the job that she did with these children is just amazing. You know, I've watched them all from babies. I remember going to Florida when you were christened, and just watching you guys grow up. She was so proud of you guys and loved you guys. Love, that's all that I can think about is that imprint of love that she had. And I'm just trying to think if there's something else I wanted to say. You know, when Pop-Up died, I remember thinking about how much what I lost, and how I lost my father. He was gone, and I just can't believe it. And then as time went on, and it didn't take long, maybe a month or two, he's here now. He's in this room, so is Mike, and he's on my shoulder. And that's what you'll feel. You'll feel that your mother's always with you. She'll always be there. You know, she's never going to leave you, man. She's just not here in, you know, physically. Her spirit will always be with you. And if you can take anything from that in your own life, God, how lucky you would be to have a mother like that. So that's all I have.
Growing up in the Harrington household at a young age was, let's just say it was a lot of testosterone. And I can remember my mom getting pregnant and going to bed at night just praying for her to bring home a baby girl, just to soften things up a little bit. Absolutely brutal.